Go.
Good afternoon. It's Jim with Becky behind the camera, and we are With It Retirees in Beaverton, Oregon. So it is my very great pleasure today to do a review of the Aventon Cinch step-through folding e-bike. I have close to 1,000 miles on this bike, and I have to say I think the world of it. So let's get going by just saying what the basics are on the bike. So it comes in two colors. It's a matte green or a shiny red. And I like the shiny red, although I ended up choosing the matte green because if you notice the fenders and the rack, which are custom to the bike, are flat. So if you buy the red bike, just beware you're going to have a shiny bike with flat fenders and rack. So anyhow, and also another thing, this rack is very specific to this bike. So I would highly recommend that you get somebody that knows which rack is which to get you the right rack. Otherwise it may not fold right. So back on, it has 7 gears. Which is not a whole lot. It's pretty low geared. You can outrun the gears on this bike, something you should be aware. It doesn't bother me, but it may bother some people. It has disc brakes, but the brakes are not hydraulic. They're just disc brakes, although I've had great luck with these brakes. In fact, they seem to squeak less than the hydraulic brakes on the other 2 bikes I've got, but they stop really well. It has the new Aventon electronics on it, which is a color electronics, meaning it's I'm not going to get into it right now. Maybe it may someday. It's interactive, and if you know what you're doing and you're techie, you can make this do all kinds of different things. But important to you, if you're not, is it has a percentage of juice left in it and a good mileage record thing and stuff. Anyhow, it's a really nice one to read. Seat is quite comfortable, highly adjustable, fits big, tall people or short people. This has got some adjustment in it too. Real easy to step through. Let me show. This bike is crazy easy to get on and off of, and very difficult to fall off of. It has five levels of power. It has a thumb throttle, which takes it to 20 miles an hour. It says right on it that it'll only do 20 miles an hour, but this is not the case. Under pedal assist, on level 4, I normally will cruise about 22 miles an hour. It'll go a little faster than that too. So it's plenty fast. Has a 500 watt motor. I'm not going to give you the range. I don't know exactly. You'd have to look it up, but I use it for short-term runs, and it has plenty of battery for that. Let's see what else about the bike. I'm going to show you the folding part of it in the end, but I'll talk a little bit. Oh, let's go on here. Has shocks, nice shocks, adjustable, and it has 4-inch by 20-inch tires, which are kind of the pull on the whole bike. And it is a folder, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But on to performance. This bike with the fat tires will just about go anywhere. It goes on the grass, it goes in the dirt, it goes on the road nice. With these shocks on it, if you go off a curb or over a speed bump, you can't even hardly feel it. It's the smoothest bike you'll ever ride in your life. It is an excellent hill climber, but what you got to remember is this bike behaves differently than a lot of e-bikes. It has its power curve, I guess you would call it. When you get on it and you hit the thumb throttle on a bike such as this one, it goes bang and it wants to go. And the second you hit the throttle, it's pulling to go. This bike, you hit the throttle and you have just time to smile like that, and then you go away. And it's a wonderful thing if you're old and you want to have a second shot, because if you push that and you didn't mean to push it, you can kind of get it back a lot easier. The other thing is when it does go, it goes at a little bit slower speed. Instead of just like this, it goes like this. So you start a little slower and then you go a little slower, but then just when you think, well, maybe it doesn't have what it takes, it kicks its power curve, and it's quite powerful. It climbs, and you can just feel it kick in like your afterburners. But by then you have complete control of the bike. You know everything that's going on, and it's time for it to be there. So it's a, you know, I wouldn't have thought I would like it better, but I definitely do. So for a lot of people, it's going to be a better deal. Like I say, it'll go 24 miles an hour, I think is what you can get it to go. It's I'm not sure why it does that, but it does. So anyhow, a couple of things that are wrong with the bike or that people don't like about it. One is it doesn't have lights. Even in the new version, there's no lights. To me, it's not that big a deal because I don't ride in the dark. I guess a lot of people do. I use a light such as this LED plug-in that I strap here. So if I am going to be out close to dark, and then the back of my bag has a light. You just turn it on, so, and there you go. So it isn't a problem for me, but for a lot of people it is, and it's a big deal. I don't know why, but it is. One thing I should say before we backtrack, this is a trunk that I talked about in the last video. There's two kinds of this thing. One kind fits on a rack that slides in, and the other kind, such as this, has straps. So if you're going to put it on this bike, you need the strap kind. So just the word that I forgot to mention last time. Anyhow, the lights is the one thing. And the other thing is, this bike doesn't pedal well when it's not under power. It's really hard to get it down the road. So if you're looking for a bike that you can use as a bicycle or close to a bicycle, this isn't the thing for you. If you want to terrorize the countryside and go anywhere anything can go, in a few places it seems like you shouldn't be able to go, and incredibly sure-footed, this is the bike for you. And it's so easy to ride. Anyhow, back to the other thing that I know is not necessarily a plus is if you get a flat tire in this bike, or it doesn't, goes flat, it's really hard to push too. So what you've got is kind of a big heavy lump sitting there in front of you, and it's hard to deal with. I have contrived a method for doing that, which I'll show you in the next video about bikes that's coming out. So that's the two things I have against it, and I can't think of anything else in the world that I have against it. So I highly recommend this bike. So about all I got left to do is show you how to fold it. I'm not an expert at this because I don't fold it up all that much, but let's start down here with the pedal. Take the outside of the pedal and you push in like so, and then in, and then you fold up. So in and then fold up. And then over here, there's a lever. You pull up on the lever and out on this with the other finger, and that comes loose. Now this is going to come down. So, now this is a critical juncture in the whole thing, which I did wrong for a couple times, and I finally figured out. At this point, make sure you put up the kickstand. If you don't, you'll be sorry. It has a rest down here on the bottom. It's going to come to rest on. So that's the new kickstand in effect. So here we go. You push down on the red thing, pull up on the other, now you're loose. Now the bike's going to just fold up. Like so. Now, one thing, a last tip, this bike doesn't have any clamp or anything to hold it together. So I take a short strap like this, and I run it through. I don't know why they don't have anything like that, but they don't. I guess that's the third thing that could be corrected. Basically, now it won't get away from you. Now you see it's riding on this piece right here. So that's what keeps it from messing itself up. When you do, so anyhow, basically you can pick this up. I'm not going to do it right now, but This loads in pretty much any big trunk or any back of an RV. So anyhow, that's about all I have for today. We will see you on the next one.